So you've celebrated the start of your business. The next right turn is sales and marketing. In my experience, this is the hardest part. Turning an idea into a business is exciting, and you have done that by now. But selling and marketing is the grunt work, the heavy lifting. It's easy to convince yourself and your team that your business is great, and by now, you are probably so confident in your business. The challenge now is finding more customers and convincing them. When building an innovation, you use the innovator's adopters curve. You work with the innovator and the early adopters to define and build your business. But now, it's time to convince the early and late majority. As from the curve, you will see that is where your business can gain its volume, and that's when you can be more confident to sustain it in the long term. But how do you start convincing the majority? You have to know your target customer. Then your messaging has to be clear enough to find and reach them. And there needs to be a discipline in the process. So let's talk about each of these in more detail. First, your target customer. If you built your business with the innovator and early adopter customers, you already have an idea of your target customer, and you can gain a lot of insight into who they are and their buying behavior. Why did they buy from you and not anyone else? The clearer your target market is, the better you can tailor your messaging to them. Ask yourself, what is their challenge and problem? How do they go about solving their problems? Are they more traditional or more innovative? Will they respond to traditional marketing, or are they more receptive to social media? A great way to find this out is to spend time with your innovators and early adopters and find out why they bought from you. What benefits did they get from what you offered? You also have to differentiate between a B2B, business to business, or B2C, business to consumer market. If you cater to both, you will have to be clear about what they have in common and what is different about them. In a B2B model, the decision-making is more process-oriented, and decisions are usually made by a group. In B2C, the sole decision-maker is your buyer. Second, your messaging. You can have the best product in the world, but if only you and a few of your early adopter clients know about it, your business will never grow to a sustainable level. And so, you must create a marketing message that is clear and targeted to your market. I find that this takes a different skill set. Business people, unless they are also particularly savvy at marketing, will need help. At this stage, it's probably a good idea to bring in a marketing resource or consultant. The team will usually have a creative director who can build a strategy to find your target customer and send them a clear message on what you offer so that they can eventually buy your product. The creative director will then bring in a creative team of copywriters, graphic designers, photographers to help execute on the vision and strategy. A B2B campaign will be more logic-oriented and a brain-based decision by the main decision maker in the company. A B2C campaign is usually more emotional and will be a heart-based decision by the individual. Depending on your market, you can use traditional methods of marketing such as networking, referrals, mailers, or ads in magazines. If you want to use more digital marketing, it will be online, and you have to decide what social media your customer uses most. Third, you must use a disciplined process. Marketing is very creative, but to get it right and done on time, you must have a process that you follow. Set timelines and look for people who will work with you to meet them. Measure success of your initiatives also, and decide which ones work and can be replicated, and which ones don't and should be discarded. If you are doing a B2B approach, then a sales process where you monitor target lists of customers and track status of deals in a pipeline helps you to stay focused. While we are talking about selling, I want to take some time to point out that this is also where rejection comes in. And rejection is a hard pill to swallow, especially if you have never tasted it before. But know that only 10% of sales will close, so 90% of the time you will face rejection. If you understand that it is part of the process, that may make it easier to accept. You are like a baseball player. To increase your winning plays, you must play a lot and accept that majority of the time you won't hit well. But this is the only way to increase the chances of a winning play. Before I end this section, I wanted to point out the difference between an investor pitch and a sales pitch. In an investor pitch, you are speaking to investors and the message is, you need to invest in our business. We are the best. You exude confidence and convince your investors that you are the team that will take this problem and turn it into a solution that customers will buy. Investor pitches need to be extremely confident as you are asking investors to join you. But when selling to customers, you should not use your investor pitch. Imagine coming in and telling a customer that you know their problem and you have the best solution they need. It can come across as arrogant, especially if you are a newbie in their industry. The better approach for a sales pitch is to have a consultative approach. In the book Advanced Selling Strategies by Bryan Tracy, he talks about how to reverse the sales process and spend the most time understanding the customer needs before selling your product. Only then can you gain the insight to truly understand what your customers' challenges are, and also the sensitivity to present yourself as someone who will work with them on a solution. No customer wants to be told they have a problem and you are the only person that can fix it. That's usually a recipe for getting the door slammed in your face. An investor pitch inspires confidence. A sales pitch shows you are ready to collaborate. The sixth right turn is milestones and dashboards. You probably already used a set of milestones to get you to start your business. Once the business is up and running, it's easy to get swept up into the day-to-day. All the time spent planning at the beginning sometimes gets forgotten. But that knowledge and plans are very important as they were made when you had a lot of creative time. Revisit the plans. You may need to pivot and update them, but keep the discipline of having milestones and dashboards. These are quick reminders of how you are doing versus your plans, and they are a great way to navigate whether you are on course or not. The worst thing to do is to go so off track and not even know it. That's when business failures have a great risk of happening. The ideal way to do this is to create a set of strategic initiatives or drivers that enable you to meet your annual goals. An example of a goal is to reach a revenue of $10,000, and a milestone is what you need to do to get to the goal. An example of this is to prepare a target list. Maybe call 5 customers a week, monitor and close the deals. Milestones need to have a level of detail, but also be broad enough to get you to the goal. A dashboard is a visual reminder of your strategic goals and milestones. The concept is similar to your car's dashboard. When you look at it, you can tell the overall state of the car. Do you need more gas? Are you going too fast? Is a car door open? It's a similar concept with the dashboard. It simply lists the strategic goals, a few key milestones, and a deadline and a status column. My favorite visual is when the status column has a green, yellow, or red color, just like a stoplight. Green means on track, yellow means warning, we may be encountering some issues, and red is SOS, may need help or we will miss the deadlines. Having the discipline of looking at your dashboards on a monthly, or if you are a smaller company, maybe quarterly basis, ensures that you stay on track with everything you planned. And if you are encountering issues or problems, dashboards are not a fixed thing. If you pivot or iterate your business, you can pivot and iterate your dashboard too. I have given you 6 right turns, and now we are at the end. I'd like to thank you all for spending this time with me. But I am one journey, one way to get to innovation. There are others, and today we are lucky that there is so much information available. You can read the books I mentioned today. You can read other books. There are many online sources of information, including university online and on-site courses that you can take. Please continue learning. Before we end, let me tell you a little bit about my business coaching practice. As an entrepreneur and innovator myself, the biggest challenge has been the feeling that I was going it alone. And I've heard many entrepreneurs and innovators say the same thing. Unlike in big organizations, they don't have like-minded colleagues around them, resources at their disposal, or senior management board members with business experience to guide them. What they do have is freedom, speed, flexibility, and all this can lead to a burst of creative energy to take their innovative idea to market. So the question becomes, how do I break new ground on my own? The good news is that you don't have to. You might want to consider working with a business coach like me. A business coach is someone trained in innovation with experience in the business setting. I have a 6 or 12-step process that allows you to turn your idea into reality. Here are some things my clients have said about working with me. As you begin your journey, I hope our paths will cross as we travel on the road to innovation. Until then. Here is your final course self-assessment. Thank you.